This so-called honey trap, this dangerously sweet and alluring bait pertaining to the public scandal related to pedophilia, a trap set for the elites of the Western world, mainly the United States, assume that it is highly likely that this was a carefully prepared intelligence operation by the Russian KGB. I don't need to tell you how serious the implications are for the security of the Polish state if the increasingly likely possibility turns out to be true that Russian intelligence services co-organized this operation, which can only mean one thing, that they also possess compromising materials on many leaders who are still active today.
Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk has claimed that late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein may have acted as a Russian intelligence asset, citing newly released U.S. justice documents. Donald Tusk called the allegations serious enough to threaten Poland's national security and ordered a review of possible Russian links. The comments follow the DOJ release of millions of Epstein-related files detailing contacts with global political figures. According to Tusk, growing media reports suggest the scandal may have been co-organized by Russian intelligence services. Tusk said Poland cannot ignore the possibility that foreign intelligence exploited Epstein's criminal network.
More and more commentators and experts assume that it is highly likely that this was a carefully prepared intelligence operation by the Russian KGB. This so-called honey trap, this dangerously sweet and alluring bait, a trap set for the elites of the Western world, mainly the United States. Together with the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, the Prosecutor General of the Republic, and the Minister Coordinator for the Interior and Special Services, we have collectively decided to establish a comprehensive and dedicated analytical task force. And perhaps also we will consider further measures. We are prepared to officially initiate a comprehensive investigation should the detailed technical analysis provide confirmation of our serious concerns pertaining to the public scandal related to pedophilia in the United States. There is a possibility that we will also actively provide encouragement to our other partners to ensure that the investigation in this matter has an international character. Once again, I want to strongly emphasize that in cases like the one we are witnessing today, something that is simply unimaginable. And that is perhaps why so many people are in denial about it. But please, everyone in Poland, use your imagination. What would the future mean for all of us? Impunity, disregard, pretending that nothing is happening, when dozens, hundreds of people from the highest levels of power, from the elites of the entire Western world, are involved in a criminal enterprise. This cannot simply be left as it is. We in Poland certainly will not pretend that nothing has happened here. I don't need to tell you how serious the implications are for the security of the Polish state if the increasingly likely possibility turns out to be true that Russian intelligence services co-organized this operation, which can only mean one thing, that they also possess compromising materials on many leaders who are still active today.
The DOJ files reference Russian President Vladimir Putin more than 1,000 times and Moscow over 9,000 times. Documents show Epstein sought meetings with Putin, including after his 2008 conviction for procuring a minor. In a 2010 email, Epstein offered to help an associate get a Russian visa, claiming a connection to Putin. Other files point to possible meetings in 2011 and a planned visit involving Putin in 2014. The records include repeated references to Russian women and officials within Epstein's social circle. Tusk said Poland will assess whether compromising materials remain in Russian intelligence hands. He stressed the stakes extend beyond history to present-day security risks. Russia's foreign ministry has not responded directly to Tusk's remarks. In December, Russia's foreign ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, dismissed the Epstein files as proof of Western hypocrisy.
Can you assure the American public that President Trump, like every other prominent person whose name came up in relation to the Epstein files, that all documents, photos, and anything relevant to him connected to the case are being released?
I mean, yes, I can assure that we complied with the statute, we complied with the act, and there is no, we did not protect President Trump, we didn't protect or not protect anybody. I mean, I think that there's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents. And there's nothing I can do about that. But President Trump, of all the people in Washington, D.C. and around this country that have said for years the same consistent message about Jeffrey Epstein as President Trump. And so there's not been a change of course or anything, and certainly his direction to the American people and the his direction to the Department of Justice was to be as transparent, release the files, be as transparent as we can. And that's exactly what we did. Today we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the act. Just a quick note about the videos and images. The 2,000 videos and 180,000 images are not all videos and images taken by Mr. Epstein or someone around him. They include large quantities of commercial pornography and images that were seized from Epstein's devices, but which he did not take or that someone around him did not take. Some of the videos, though, and some of the images do appear to be taken by Mr. Epstein or by others around him. Now, I want to talk for a few minutes about the department's document identification and review protocols. It consisted of multiple layers of review and quality control designed to ensure compliance under the act and protect victims. On top of the review protocols that the department had in place, the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York employed an additional review protocol to ensure compliance with a court order requiring United States Attorney Jay Clayton to certify that with respect to certain materials, a large quantity of the materials, a rigorous process was undertaken to protect victims against any clearly unwarranted invasion of their personal privacy. The department's collection effort resulted in more than 6 million pages being identified as potentially responsive, including department and FBI emails, interview summaries, images, videos, and various other materials collected and generated during the various investigations and prosecutions that the act covered. We erred on the side of over-collection of materials from various sources to best ensure maximum transparency and compliance, which necessarily means that the number of responsive pages is significantly smaller than the total number of pages initially collected. That's why I mentioned a moment ago we're releasing more than 3 million pages today and not the 6 million pages that we collected. I want to address what we didn't produce. The categories of documents withheld include those permitted under the Act to be withheld, files that contain personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal and medical files, and similar files, the disclosure of which would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Any depiction of CSAM or child pornography was obviously excluded. Anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. And finally, anything that depicts or contain images of death, physical abuse, or injury, also not produced. Although the Act allows for withholding for items necessary to keep secret in the interest of national security or foreign policy, no files are being withheld or redacted on that basis. Further, as we previously stated in our December 19th letter of last year, the department withheld or redacted files covered by various privileges, as we always do, including deliberative process privilege, work product privilege, and attorney-client privilege.